that kind of offset the amount of work that EVE Online actually is. Because this game is fucking work. It's dedication. It's work. If you want to get anywhere, you better be prepared to lose some hours. And I mean, a lot of hours. I'm not. This isn't like WoW where you're sitting here like, oh, I'm gonna log in for 2 hours and jump 10 levels. Not in EVE. No sir. Oh man, I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get back in game now.
you really are tempting me. I wish there was a way that I could try this game out for free instead of like spending money. I mean,
You know what? I think I actually have a buddy invite.
okay,
Or Eve's equivalent to a buddy invite. I'm not
okay.
exactly sure what it's called, but I think I possibly have one
Well,
on my
let's
account. I just
get
have to reactivate. It's like a free 7 days or something.
yeah, get back to me on that because I'd be curious to check out the world and then see if I want to spend money on it. Though to be honest, I mean, we're starting to get into a pretty actually busy month. When we were having our meeting yesterday, we were talking about all the games coming out. I mean, I have Max Payne 3 to think about in about 15 days. So
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. We're gonna start. It's gonna start getting hectic here pretty
yeah,
quick, which is gonna leave less time for Eve. But there's a possibility that I actually still have our press account that CCP gave us back in Allegedly Speaking. That's because
okay.
they never turned it off. I don't know why.
Because they're cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Allegedly Speaking went away, but as far as I know, that thing's still active. So there's a chance we could go in and just start playing.
Yeah. Well, one last question. How long do you think this battle of epic proportions is going to continue? Like, what do you
Well, it's
think?
only the weekend.
All night long, all night.
Thank you. I'm
That
so
was a
happy you're back, Scotty D.
yeah. We missed you, man.
Yeah. No, it's only supposed to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. As far
Okay,
as
so
I know.
well, so if they
I'm
don't
sure there will
succeed
be
by the end of
some.
today, they're gonna just give up.
Well, dude, to be honest, they've destroyed billions of property in
So
it
this will affect the
already.
economy at least somewhat.
Yes, they've already
Okay.
made an impact. They've already been victorious, and there's been
Yeah.
fleets of players and other corps that have gone to Jita to protect Jita and
Mm.
kind of save it, and they've made no effect. The Goonswarm just has too many people out there, and they're just they're kind of wrecking it. They're griefing, and it's amazing, but. They've already kind of made their impact, made their statement. They've already won, so it's going to affect the economy. Just it's all that is up in the air right now is how much, to
Yeah.
what degree. Excuse me. Burp the show is a little one. That was kind of a sissy one. I should have really belted it out, but I didn't.
Pussy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Loser.
Yeah, thank you. Um,
Let's give
so
props.
that's the story with.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I think
go
we.
ahead.
Well, I just want to say we should get another round of applause from you, Scotty D, for CCP for being so fucking awesome. Yeah, I really want to express that because I have never heard of a game company providing support like this for anything. And I'm not saying that other companies or MMO companies suck by any means, but this level of like support through a hands-off non-intervention policy is actually really unique, and I respect the fuck out of it. Even as a non-MMO player, I think that is showing dedication to dedicated gamers that I don't.
You have
think
a
normally
massive
happens.
erection.
You have no idea, and it's done now. I'm all good. I'm all good.
No, I completely agree. I can't kind of sing CCP's praises enough just
Yeah.
for that reason. Especially coming from so recently playing the Old Republic, where it is such a wildly scripted experience, and everybody basically has the same experience.
Yeah.
And it's a good game. It's fun. It's entertaining. But
It's
it is
Star
so,
Wars.
Yeah, but it is so easy to put down and not think about. I mean, seriously, where EVE Online is, it will, for those players that really commit to EVE Online and start progressing and get in a good corp, and it will suck you in. And you will be thinking about EVE Online at work, the next day after you went into 0-0 and were part of a huge battle. You'll be thinking about it. You'll be thinking about what you did wrong, the strategies you used, how you could be better. The Old Republic or WoW or games of that nature, maybe not so much WoW, because I know they have a huge raid population that actually does, have their calculators out to calculate DPS and crowd control and shit like that, but not to the level of EVE, not to the extent of EVE, nowhere even close, and you just don't get that anywhere else. and it's amazing. It's an amazing game. I can't wait for Dust 514. I can't wait to actually get back into game, and kudos to CCP for just letting this go down the way it did.
I'm downloading Dust 514 as soon as it drops. I'm serious.
I thought you were going to say you were downloading it. I was like, if you fucked up the live stream because you got excited, because you got a Woody, I will kill you.
I know it was a massive erection, not a Woody. You're giving me not enough credit.
Oh my.
Yeah, he would probably say that if he was around me.
Dude,
but anyway.
George Takei likes that kind of thing. He likes it when we talk like that.
And I like it that he likes
wet.
it.
His booty hole gets all perspiration laden.
Moist. Yeah.
Yeah, moist.
Should
swamp ass.
Shall we?
I just went to a bad place. I don't want to go. Please
move on to the next story.
Yes, thank you very much.
And apparently, I'm taking the reins now because Nate doesn't know how to open a web browser.
Hey, I've got a lot of shit running, man. I got stuff to do.
It's true. Well, first thing actually is sort of coming on the heels of a story that I posted yesterday on pixelapocalypse.com, and it was it's actually kind of, I think this might be the first time we've ever actively advertised another podcast, but it's not like a competing one because it's Ken Levine, as in Rational Games and BioShock Infinite creative director Kevin Levine, his podcast on the Irrational Games website. I think there's actually a couple of podcasts on the site, I'm not sure, but this one's called Irrational Interviews. And a couple days back, he brought Amy Hennig, the creative director for the Uncharted trilogy, on board to discuss story in games. And they do talk a lot about that, and they talk about the creative process, which being a writer myself, I really dug that part of the conversation. But they also talked about the nature of gamer entitlement, which, as I've said, as we've said on many occasions, is fucking frustrating as hell. I mean, but we don't really need to beat a dead horse anymore. I think that horse is beaten into enough of a pulp. So with that said, they talk about that, I should say, and they also talk about how to write a story that appeals to all gamer demographics and the essential importance of, and this I thought was the most, I thought this showed why they are considered, by me especially, to be some of the best writers in games, but the importance of character-driven story, and that's pretty much what they ended on, and I just thought it was a fantastic conversation. Nate, I know you listened to it. What did you think of the whole thing?
I actually didn't get through the whole thing.
Okay.
I only got to the point directly after they were talking about their their poodoo, yes.
Yeah.
Their bowel movements. And
Indeed.
I think they actually did talk about that at one point in time, but whatever. And Ken Levine was describing this process, and I, for some reason, you just said this girl's name, and I can never remember her name.
Amy Hennig.
Yeah, Amy Hennig. And I just thought
Big ass titties!
No. Take it back right now, because she is like a 47-year-old woman. She has like whiskey and cigarette voice, and
she's so badass. Shit. She is so badass, and it's weird to hear.
She is. She just sounds like one of those ladies who has like an old ass typewriter in front of her, a bottle
who you
of
don't
whiskey
fuck
on
with
one side.
Yeah, and you're ugly.
Thank you, Scotty D. But no, they're describing their processes, and I'm just like, you can't teach it.
No, they're not teaching it. They're just relating, though, is what they're saying.
Oh no, I know, but it was a realization to me. It's like,
oh, I see. Okay.
Because I've never sat there and thought of myself as a writer. It's like, sure, I write for the site, and I'll do reviews and I'll do editorials once in a while, but I've never considered myself a writer. And once in a while, it's I'll sit there and I'll listen to people like Ken Levine and this Amy Hennig. Oh, that was it.
There we go.
That was the official burp of the show. Thank you very much. Ooh, that one stank a little, too. It's on my mic. Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, it smells like frickin' pancakes.
What?
So I'm listening.
What?
It does. I had pancakes and bacon.
Oh, pancakes.
Oh, that could gagamage.
So I'm listening to
I thought you said it smelled like panties. I was like, what the fuck have you been doing?
Japanese?
If
No.
only, yeah. Anyway, what
Do
were
I
you?
sniff dirty panties? No.
Well, you don't buy them from
The
vending
fuck
machines.
is he talking about?
Because you can
know what
actually,
I'm talking about.
Scotty D, you can actually buy used panties in vending machines in Japan. This is a true story.
Oh my.
Yes.
Okay, all right, we're derailing.
We're derailing. We're
putting us
derailing like
back
nuts.
on track.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm listening to them talk about their processes, and there have been times where I've looked to other writers and read articles about what it means to be a good writer or a good games journalist or whatever, and I'm just like, you can't teach it. Listening to
No.
those two, I was like, you cannot teach it. You cannot put a process in place for people who just don't have the ability. And I'm one of the people that does not have the ability. I'm adequate, but something I write is never going to end up in a video game or in a short story or, be praised for like a web award or whatever kind of bullshit they give game journalists. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen because you can't teach it. There has to be an ability there.
Well,
that
there's a
lot of people in games right now don't have.
There's a great quote that Stephen King has in his book called On Writing that I read, and it's so brilliant. Where he says, and I'm gonna butcher it, but in essence, he says, there's bad writers, there's competent writers, there's good writers, and there's like great writers. And he said that you can't make an adequate writer out of a bad writer, and you can't make a great writer out of a good writer, but you can make a good writer out of an adequate writer, or competent writer, excuse me. And that's it, you have to like think about that for a second because it's a very convoluted statement, but it's totally true. You can teach to a certain degree what your process is and hope that it sticks with a competent writer out there. But if somebody's like doesn't know how to do it, you're right, you can't teach it, and you can't make somebody into the next fucking Shakespeare. I mean,
okay, I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Hmm.
Fuck Stephen King. If you would have told me that 5 years ago, before I had finished up the Dark Tower series, I would have probably taken it seriously. But fuck that guy. Anybody who's read the end of the Dark Tower series knows exactly what I'm talking about. I wish the van would have hit him twice. Or the truck, or whatever.
You shit-faced cockmaster!
Okay, well, putting that aside, actually, I've never read... Here's actually an admission. I've never read a Stephen King book, or even a short story. I've only read his book on writing, and I think that I think that regardless of what you think of the Dark Tower series, that's a great point about writing. I think that...
Yeah, no, you're right. And
it's exactly what you're saying, is what I
To be fair, the Dark Tower series of books was amazing. It just ended on a piss poor note. And it was funny because he even, in the audio version, the audio book, because I remember, I started reading the book and I started going back to school. And a lot of my classes were just basically, the teacher would lecture, and then we would have, open study for like an hour where we'd work on the Macs or whatever. So I'd pop in my headphones and I'd listen to the Dark Tower book. Or the final one. I think it was actually called The Dark Tower. I can't remember. And before the epilogue starts, he's like, if you're happy with the ending right now, don't listen any further. Because it will ruin it for you.
He
You'll
said
get pissed
that?
off. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome. I
he
love
was just
that.
like, but that's a douchebag move.
It is a
because
douchebag
nobody
move to just
is
have
gonna
it
sit
then,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody's going to sit there and
You're
stop
right.
listening at that point. It just piques the interest. It's like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And he ruined it. He absolutely ruined it. It was terrible. I was so mad.
But I kind of still love it. Well, we should get back to the point, though, about what Ken Levine and Amy Hennig were talking about, though, in terms of storytelling in games and all that. I really, I totally could relate to Ken Levine's statement about how he doesn't do outlines, he doesn't flesh out the world. I think if I remember right, Amy Hennig was kind of the opposite. And I think that when it comes to the Uncharted series, you kind of have to be, because you have to figure out, okay, what is going to be the legend that Drake and his...
Well, no, she said that their processes were pretty similar.
Well,
actually.
yeah, she did, but she does have to worry about that sort of thing, though. She has to worry about what they're going to be pursuing, so then she has to do a little bit of research, I think is what she was saying.
Okay, well, I could see that. They're two different...
Yeah, but the approach is the same about how they don't do... as somebody who hates outlines, and I hate doing them, and I've never done an outline in my life unless I was forced to by a teacher at some point, I totally related to what they were saying. And I fucking love that. To be honest, if you only focus on an outline, that can totally weaken the character-driven story. Like, you become less concerned about developing your characters and more concerned about getting the story from point A to point B to point C, because the outline has gotten you into that mindset. And unless you're, there's probably exceptions to that, but that's always been my experience whenever I've tried to do an outline, thought about it, and then I realize I'm just not compelled to, work on this or create characters anymore. So
Right. Well, what I found really interesting, and this kind of relates to what you were just saying, is that when Ken Levine was talking about outlines and he started to go into working with publishers and
Yeah.
how they expect like a development